What you doing?
I got my Joey shirt on.
Had to rep the merch.
I got my Joey shirt on. I just realized they probably didn't hear that when I said it before.
I would have lived in peace, but my enemies brought me war. I watched 1,200 of their strongest sons and daughters, listening to a pitiless golden man speak between great marble pillars, listening to the beast who brought the flame that gnaws at my heart.
On Mars, there is not much gravity, so you have to pull the feet to break the neck. They let the loved ones do it. What's up, Helldivers?
Hey.
It's me, Brendan.
And I'm Bridget.
And it's Tome Time. That was not a good one.
No.
I don't know what's going on.
I can't do better.
Yeah, I'm not going to try again. Today, we will be convincing you why you should read Red Rising
by Pierce Brown. Dee.
Book 1 of the series called Red Rising, I think.
I think so, too.
Was there a name for the series?
I don't think so.
Cool.
There should be.
Why don't you, Bridget, part 1/2 of Siblings of the Tomb?
Part 1/2?
Yeah. Could you give us a little Goodreads-ass synopsis?
Yes, I failed and forgot to look it up ahead of time.
I lost my head.
I live for the dream that my children will be born free, she says, that they will be what they like, that they will own the land their father gave them. I live for you, I say sadly. Io kisses my cheek, then you must live for more. Darrow is a Red, a member of the lowest caste in a color-coded society of the future. Like his fellow Reds, he works all day, believing that he and his people are making the surface of Mars livable for future generations. Yet he spends his life willingly, knowing that his blood and sweat will one day result in a better world for his children. But Darrow and his kind have been betrayed. Soon he discovers that humanity already reached the surface generations ago. Vast cities and sprawling parks spread across the planet. Darrow and Reds like him are nothing more than slaves to a decadent ruling class.
Oh yeah, baby. Red Rising is a science fiction book.
Science fiction.
About rebellion. Hell yeah, dude. How would you describe Red Rising?
That's such a good question. Red Rising. I think Red Rising is like a very classic rebellion uprising story.
Yeah.
Where like an unsuspecting
hero
comes and just tears shit
up, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. This book is written in first person point of view, and it makes it so badass, dude. It's so sick.
It's definitely one of the high points for this book is just getting to live inside Darrow's brain.
Yeah. Who would you who is this book for?
This book is for people that like to read a little bit about like the politics involved in a rebellion. I would say if you think that like a rebellion plot and specifically a plot that has a good amount of politics.
Yeah.
I don't know that this is the book for you if you don't love those things.
Sure. I think Red Rising, specifically book 1, is very like Hunger Games.
Yeah, that's a very fair point.
I feel like it's a mix of like Hunger Games, Ender's Game.
Yeah, I think that this one can be a little bit harder to follow than the Hunger Games because like all of the weapons and culture and things in the Hunger Game is just like what we have
Sure.
now. But in this book, it's science fiction in
Yeah.
like a future world where there's way more stuff going on.
I do think that Pierce Brown does a good job of explaining what
Yes.
things are without like lore dumping it. Like he doesn't say grav boots. They're boots you put on to make you fly. Like you just like can imply what they are by
Yeah.
how they're used.
How they use them. Yep. Totally.
Yeah. So like if you liked Hunger Games, you'll like this book probably.
Most
If you liked
likely.
Ender's Game, you'll probably like this book.
I totally agree. Well, I guess that one doesn't really apply. Never
If you like general badassery.
mind. Absolutely. Yeah. I remember the first time I tried reading this book, I got like only a couple of pages into it.
Really?
I had such a weird thing about not wanting to read a book written by a man that was about a man.
Mm.
And I remember feeling like it was going to be one of those books that had not a single important female character.
Interesting.
And I had feelings about that.
Yeah.
So once I got over that for a hot second, and just got into the book, obviously we know that that's
Yeah, you're
not
pleasantly
true.
surprised by
So-
some of the main characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read this book right after I finished The Will of the Many because you said I would like it, and so did the internet. And I like literally read like the first line, which is what we read at the beginning of this video, and I was like, oh, I'm in. I'm in,
Sucked
dude.
right into this. Yeah.
Like the world in the whole series, but really in book one, is so grim, dude.
Yeah, it's great.
It's depressing.
It is.
It's a
It's real
hard
bad.
ass world, dude.
Yeah.
Like
It's bleak.
Yeah.
There's
no
hope.
prospects.
There's
Nobody's
no,
yeah.
Yeah.
They're literally like competing for scraps.
Yes. And even when they win, it doesn't matter.
Imagine competing for scraps.
What would
Surely
that be
couldn't
like?
be me. Right?
No.
Because we have meritocracy.
Right.
Anyways,
Right?
work harder and you'll be better off.
Fine.
Yep, it'll be fine. Can you explain to me why you love Red Rising? Can you explain to me in a way that doesn't involve Golden Sun, Morning Star, Dark Age, Iron Gold, or Lightbringer?
Yes. Okay. So one of the big reasons that I love Red Rising is Darrow is not bought in all of the way at any point that he is as awesome as people think he is.
He doesn't want to be the hero.
No, he doesn't want to be the hero. He doesn't think he can be the hero.
No.
Like half the time he's like, I don't know how to do any of this shit.
No.
And I loved that.
Yeah.
I loved it because then it made it more like real when things did happen that were awesome.
Yeah.
Because he also was like, yeah, that was crazy. You know? And I loved getting to watch that about him, and it just felt more realistic, like more relatable in a way.
Sure.
So I don't know, I really enjoy Darrow as a main character.
Yeah, he is kind of like the I don't remember what the trope is called, but he's like good at everything pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's very satisfying. Like it's not just like boring.
No.
Like there's explanations that I don't want to talk about because I don't want to spoil stuff. But I agree.
Yeah. I really enjoy that. I also like in this book, it kind of centers around like a academy of sorts.
It's dark academia. Kind of.
And I'm a sucker for an academy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Will of the Many, that type of vibe. Like I love it. A little healthy competition between students that may or may not include death.
They could die.
Absolutely.
I mean,
sign me up.
Yeah. I mean, in this book, they could die. Anything else?
I think I've already, briefly touched on this, but there are some really badass female characters, and I just really enjoy when that gets to happen, and when they're more than just like some random side piece. I really like that. So
yeah. Hell yeah.
I feel like there's so much more that I love about this book, but I'm not coming to the top of the brain.
I have stupid boy brain. And this book has some really sick ass action.
Yeah, it really
And
does.
I love that. I'm always down for some sick ass action.
Yeah.
But building on that, the world, I love a grim, nasty, gross world that's like no prospects, dude. It's fun to read about,
Yeah, to see what they do to
to see
survive.
like how they respond to the conflict, you know?
Yeah.
I love Darrow. I also love some of the characters you meet later on in the book. I will call them for now the jolly group of dudes.
The jolly group of dudes.
Seeing the jolly group of dudes do shit throughout this book is like just so satisfying,
It
and
really
like
is.
I love their like relationship.
Yeah.
And the the there's some plot twists in this book that are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the best way I can sell this book and how I like sold it to like my friends is just that it's really badass, dude.
It really is. It really is.
It's just like good action
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
You know?
but also like more than that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember how I sold it to you. Well, it was with the Will of
It
the
was a
Many.
pretty easy sell
That's fair.
because I love The Will of the Many.
Yeah, that's super fair.
And book 2 isn't out yet. It's been announced, but definitely wasn't out when I finished it. And so I was like, I need more of
Needed something
this.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super fair. I also feel like I actually, for the most part, occasionally there are things that I don't love, but for the most part, I really like Pierce Brown's prose.
I like
mean-
have one general qualm,
Yes, we know what it is.
and it's a specific line in a
Yes.
specific book. But everything else, like I've heard, or I guess watched. I mean, I guess that's hearing. I've heard people be like, "Oh, he's like kind of like cringe
Mm,
with his like one-liners," and he's like
mm,
some of like the things that Daryl will say to like hype people up, and I just disagree.
I totally disagree.
Bro does a speech, and I'm like,
I'm
"Yeah,
hyped.
let's
Yeah,
go!"
Yeah. I mean, the first line,
Come on, dude. I would have lived in peace, but
But
my
my-
enemies brought me war, dude.
not cringe.
It's so hard.
That's so
It's
yeah.
one of the hardest lines
so good.
possible.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his prose, honestly. I really enjoy you know how I feel about being in Darrow's head. I just love that.
I
the way-
assume that it's very hard to write a book in first person perspective, which is why it's probably rare.
Probably.
And it works so well, dude,
Yeah.
especially for this kind of book where it is like a science fiction that's about rebellion
Yeah.
or freedom fighting. Oh my god, it works so well.
Yeah.
And it also, I think that's a thing that like helps the plot twist a lot too, is because you're only getting this one perspective
Yes.
that like he doesn't
He doesn't know
realize
what's
it's gonna
going
end
on
that way,
either.
and then
Yeah.
it does, and you're just like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah. Well, I think it's hard. Like a lot of people don't like reading first person because I think it's hard to execute well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like it's a hard way to write
Sure.
something and have it all flow together because you are only getting one person's perspective.
I never got bored in
No.
Darrow's POV
Never.
ever.
He's just such an
Until
interesting-
I mean, there was in the second half of the trilogy, there's like a couple parts, but like especially in this book
No.
and then book 2 and book 3, never.
No, me either.
Yeah.
It's a banger all the way through.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything about the general themes of this book besides the rebellion? Is there anything that really is a theme besides that?
So the next line after the paragraph that I read was someone saying that all men are not created equal.
Yeah.
And the system that they're working in this book is that people are divided by color based off of essentially how useful of a person they are, like how big of a brain or how big their muscles but like
Yeah.
specifically what they do, right? So like
Sure, their job.
they're
Kind of.
yeah, in a way, but like they're genetically bred to
Yeah,
be
they
that
do they
specific
do
type.
eugenics in
Yes.
this series pretty hard.
Yeah, pretty hard. And so it feels very complex because like obviously there are eugenics at play,
Yes.
but also it's the whole fight that Darrow has is that it shouldn't matter.
No.
People are people and we should all be equal.
Yes.
So I don't know.
You
guess.
should be able to get a job based on your merits and not just by your genetics.
Interesting.
Sounds woke and gay to me.
Woke and gay, our favorite kind.
No, yeah, I agree. It's yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it comes back to our favorite saying.
No war but class war.
That's the guy right there.
God, what a hard ass line. Whoever wrote that.
Genius.
Yeah, also there's a pretty good theme about friendship.
Yeah.
You know, when it's just you and the boys and you're like, and then you gotta like do shit.
Yeah. Yeah, this feels I think the trope they call it is found family.
Oh yeah. It's so good, dude.
Yeah.
I want to like talk about it in depth, but I can't because this is a short video about why you should read Red Rising.
Yeah. I feel like we've significantly convinced.
Yeah. Any closing remarks?
In closing, I would like to say, Hail Reaper.
I was gonna say that. Hail Reaper, bitch. Love you. Bye.